After Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan conceded on record that terrorists are operating on the country's soil, India's Ministry of External Affairs is now demanding credible action against terror groups. India's Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson Ravish Kumar said that since the Pakistani Prime Minister has acknowledged the presence of terror training camps and of the fact that terrorists are being trained and sent to Kashmir to fight, it's time for them to take credible action against the terror camps existing in Pakistan.
Since the Prime Minister has acknowledged the presence of training camps, he has acknowledged the presence of the fact that terrorists are being trained and being sent to Kashmir to fight. It is time for them, and this is something which we have demanded time and again, that it is time for them now to take credible and irreversible action against the terror camps which exist in the areas which are under the control of Pakistan.
In a candid moment on Monday during his interview with a private US news channel, Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan had conceded on record that not only thousands of terrorists are operating on its soil, but also that its army plays an active role in training them. Imran Khan was on a 3-day trip to the US where he met President Trump. Addressing a Capitol Hill reception on his last day of the visit, Imran Khan confessed that Pakistan created the jihadist groups in the 1980s and they still operate from Pakistani soil.
We had created these jihadi groups in the 80s. We had indoctrinated them in the idea of jihad, that foreign occupation in Afghanistan, it was a religious duty to fight them. So all these groups, including Al-Qaeda, had arrived in Pakistan. And not only that, there were linkages between these groups and the Pakistani security forces, because they had created them.
30 to 40,000. That's the number of terrorists which Imran Khan has conceded that are still active and operating from Pakistan. The previous governments, claimed Imran Khan, did not have the political will to act against these terror groups.
When you talk about the militant groups, they still have about 30 to 40,000 armed people who have been trained and in some sort of a theater who fought either in Afghanistan, maybe in Kashmir.
And now we have our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Subbal, joining us live from India's capital, New Delhi. Siddhant, that Indian statement puts it in a nutshell, isn't it? If the Prime Minister of Pakistan has conceded to terror being brewed on Pakistani soil, it's time to take action.
Well, this is not the first time that the Pakistani side has accepted that they are sponsoring terrorism. But India, of course, has reacted and reiterated that it would like to see Islamabad taking not only strong but credible, sustained and irreversible action on terrorists based on its territory, on territory under its control as well. But largely we know Pakistan is not going to change its stance. What the Ministry of External Affairs today said in the weekly briefing also said that this is a glaring admission by the Pakistani establishment when it comes to terror camps on its territory and how they have been causing mayhem in India, especially in the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir, and largely it's expected to continue because we have seen Pakistan taking a lot of cosmetic measures, especially to please the international community. But when it comes to concrete steps, it hasn't taken hasn't taken many actions, including the fact that it recently arrested 2611 mastermind Hafiz Saeed, but not on the charges of his involvement in the 2611 attacks which took place in 2008, but financing of terrorism, this primarily because of the growing pressure by FATF. Remember, the deadline for the FATF for Pakistan to meet all its commitment ends in September, and in October, when the meeting happens and the Pakistani side hasn't completed its commitment, it might face blacklisting. That will be majorly impacting its economy, which is already facing a lot of stress.
All right, Siddhant Subbal, our principal diplomatic correspondent, joining us with that update. Even as we get some breaking news on this broadcast, Pakistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has reacted on Pakistani Prime Minister's admission of terror camps in the country. The Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Faisal Mohammed today said that the ministry is neither confirming nor denying Imran Khan's claims. Pakistan has always been under scrutiny for harboring terrorists. Its deep state has been called out time and again for using terror as an instrument to accomplish Pakistan's foreign policy objectives. Now, Pakistan has been under immense pressure from the international community to act against terror groups operating from its territory. It's on the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF, the global terror financing watchdog, for failing to crack down on terror. And it faces the risk of being downgraded further to a blacklist. And an acknowledgement of the problem seems to be a good place to start. But things will only change when there is action after the acknowledgement. Our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, who is in Washington, D.C., now joins us live on this broadcast. Anas, that's right. You have a Pakistani Prime Minister making an admission, and then you have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Office that is neither confirming nor denying it. But net, Pakistan right now is facing the threat of being blacklisted by the Financial Action Task Force, and words are not going to do any more.
Well, yes, the Pakistani Prime Minister Krishna on Monday, while speaking to an American media outlet right after his interview with US President Donald Trump, had admitted that it was the Pakistani spy agency that gave the information that led to the location of Osama bin Laden, the globally designated terrorist. Now, after this admission, there was a lot of hue, cry, and uproar, because that sought the inability of, or rather the complicity of, the Pakistani state to not act against Osama bin Laden, a globally designated terrorist and world's most wanted man. Now, after that, today, while speaking, this was on Monday, today, while speaking at the weekly press briefing, when a question was put down to the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs, spokesperson Dr. Mohammad Faisal, he said that he can neither confirm nor deny this development. Now, on to the next part of your question. It was in response to WION's question at the USIP, where the Pakistani Prime Minister, in elaborate, said that there are about 30 to 40,000 members of these militias who have been trained to either fight jihad in Afghanistan or even in Kashmir, and that the fact that they could not be disarmed through the police, but in fact it was a job of the military that they would have to be disarmed. So it was more of an admission that was coming in. We saw that the Pakistani Prime Minister, the Pakistani state by and large, had been denying it, but the Pakistani Prime Minister on Tuesday, while speaking to a think tank here in Washington, D.C., he has made it very clear that there are about 30 to 40,000 people. Now, there are repercussions that are involved as well, because we saw that in 2007, when the Lal Masjid operation took place, there were about 100 to 120 armed men or trained men, and then the repercussions to that, or the ramifications to that, were faced by the common people of Pakistan as long as up till 9 years. So the Pakistani state would want to first disarm them, and if not disarm them, if they are at that point that they could not be disarmed, then probably put them into jail. Yes, Krishna.
Anas Malik joining us with that live update from Washington, D.C., where he was covering the 3-day visit of Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan. Thank you, Anas, for joining us here on WION Dispatch.